Hello, this is meteorologist Brad Warner with an update on the winter storm that's bringing severe weather to southeastern parts of Minnesota, as well as a lot of snow expected across parts of North Dakota. And here's the latest Minneapolis radar Tuesday afternoon, and copious amounts of rain here down across the southeast. You can see these little markers here of some storms that have brought 1 to 2 inch diameter hail as they moved to the northeast once these storms really got developing. Now, I think for the remainder of the afternoon, areas north of this line probably won't be seeing severe weather, but we're going to have to keep an eye on this area coming out of Iowa, moving into southeastern parts of Minnesota later in the afternoon for the possibility of additional storms that could be bringing some decent-sized hail. Now, with all that said, the other thing to keep in mind is just look at the amount of rain, of course, that's falling over the same area, moving over the same region. So, of course, localized flooding will also be a concern as we get into the evening hours. And here we go, folks. Here's the satellite and here's the storm that's going to be moving in across North Dakota. Our first little wave that's going to be bringing plenty of snow, particularly across west central, northwest, and north central parts of North Dakota. And so in the upper levels for our area, we got a couple of things in play. We've got this upper level jet streak moving through our area that's going to be bringing plenty of lift. Again, across North Dakota, we've got this system that's going to be ejecting out, and that's what's bringing all these thunderstorms across southeastern parts of Minnesota. As that storm continues to lift out of the southwest, that's going to continue to bring rain and thunderstorm chances through the day on Thursday as well, continuing down across southern parts of our region. Now, meanwhile, we still have this guy that's trying to eject out here Thursday afternoon. And so that's our second wave of energy that's going to be pushing out coming into Thursday night and Friday, bringing another chance of snow throughout the region. That's kind of the one area that we were having a little bit more trouble trying to pinpoint is that stuff a little bit later in the week. And then as we get into Saturday, yet another little piece of energy wants to eject out of the southwest. And by that time, it should be cold enough that some of these areas down in the south had the potential for seeing some snow as well. And so we turn to the model just to get a little better idea of timing. And of course, here's our marginal risk for severe weather. And as I said before, I think we're probably just left with this area down in the southeastern parts of Minnesota that's more likely to see any severe weather for the remainder of Tuesday. And then as we get into Tuesday night and Wednesday, look at the snow that starts to push into northwestern parts of North Dakota. Here we are by 2 a.m. and it really starts to get going, especially across Williston, Stanley, up to Portal, North Dakota. Portal, I showed a picture of it earlier of some snow already collecting on the ground. That has since melted here Tuesday afternoon, but they're looking to get plenty more as we get into Wednesday morning. And then we overlay this area up here in parts of North Dakota that's got the best chance for seeing over 4 inches of snow. Here you can see kind of covering that Williston area, kind of a more slight area covering that Minot and more so into Rugby. But this is for Wednesday as far as seeing 4 or more inches of snow. So there you can see the snow begin to spread across the northern parts of North Dakota, particularly as we get into the afternoon and evening hours. That snow kind of continues to push to the northeast and get into that Pembina area in the far northeastern parts of North Dakota. Meanwhile, you can see plenty of rain continues across southern parts of our region, across Sioux Falls, Chamberlain, down through Rochester, Albert Lee, Minneapolis. Not expecting any severe weather down there, just the chance for some scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. Now, Wednesday evening, we're looking at that snow, that first little batch of snow, as you can see, kind of begins to break off, at least more that light to moderate, that more moderate type of activity begins to slide off to the north and east as we get late Wednesday night into Thursday morning. But we still got that little bit of chance of snow just lingering on, hanging on a little bit back to the south and west as we get into the Thursday morning hours. And again, as we get into the remainder of Thursday, again, just continues to rain. We're going to have plenty of moisture down here across southern parts of Minnesota. Man, you guys are going to get soaked down there by the time this is all said and done. And here we go. Here's our next wave of snow. And our next chance for seeing 4 inches or more begins to spread across Dickinson, perhaps Bismarck, Minot once again up into the Rugby, perhaps catching Devil's Lake as well. But that next round of snow coming in Thursday in the morning already, and then spreading northeast into the afternoon and evening hours. And also that snow line begins to creep just a little bit further to the south as well. And then through the remainder of Thursday night and as we get into Friday morning, this back edge of this particular round of this storm begins to eject to the north and east, bringing with it obviously more snow across areas that maybe didn't get it on the first round. We're continuing to see chances of scattered showers and perhaps a few isolated storms by this point, but I think for the most part we're going to be looking at scattered rainy activity. And then as we get into Friday morning, this is around 6, 7 a.m. You can see where that back edge is now of this particular system kind of begins to exit out of the Dakotas. And then as we get into the remainder of Friday morning, this is around noontime. I think by that point, most of the precipitation will have moved out of the region. So the one thing I want to point out with this system is we're not expecting a whole lot in the way of wind gusts. You can see as we kind of pod through this, this is going through Wednesday evening, Wednesday night, and early Thursday morning. Not a whole lot of wind gusts, 25, maybe 30 miles per hour. As we get into Thursday morning, some windier gusts of 30 miles per hour across eastern parts of North Dakota. But by and large, not much in a way of anything that's going to be blowing the snow around significantly. So we're not concerned about blizzard conditions. We're just concerned about the amount of snow that's expected out of this storm system that ultimately brings a couple of shots of snow across the area. All right, how much snow are we expecting? This is kind of my updated map here, the snowfall through Wednesday night. So that first shot of snow, we're looking at the trace to 2 inches to kind of fall within that region, just eclipsing beyond International Falls, Hillsborough, down to Linton and Buffalo-ish area. The 2 to 4 mark just kind of reaching up into Pembina, Devil's Lake, Washburn down, just kind of eclipsing Dickinson. And then that 4 to maybe as much as 7 inches across Williston, Minot, Rugby, Bottineau, all you guys up in through here. This is going on, like I said, through Wednesday night, that first little band of snow that moves through. Now, here's how much I think we're going to get through Friday night. So with that second batch of snow, all in all, we're looking at 6 to 12 inches, perhaps even more than that, now extending way up into Pembina, Devil's Lake, Bottineau, of course, eclipsing Minot and Williston, perhaps just reaching Dickinson as well. 4 to 6 going through Bismarck, up through Grand Forks, International Falls. 2 to 4 just kind of clipping Bemidji, perhaps Fargo, down to the Wishig, Linton, and down to the Buffalo area of South Dakota. And then otherwise, we're just looking at trace to 2 inches. Kind of hard at this point to see exactly where or how much to kind of fine tune that. But generally, that's kind of the remainder of the area where we're looking at the snowfall potential, at least through Friday night. And our area of greatest uncertainty is there where the gradient between the trace to 2 and the 6 to 12 is the least. So not a whole lot of room in here. So if that storm wiggles a little bit south or north, of course, some of these lines, accumulation lines, will move north and south with it. So this area in red right now is kind of our area of greatest uncertainty, basically lying within that Bismarck, Grand Forks area. And of course, with this all, the National Weather Service has issued a winter storm watch, and here's where the latest counties are for that particular watch. I would think that's going to expand at least some to where it's going to be moving a little bit further south and maybe just a little bit further to the north and east as well. We'll see what ultimately happens with all this, but wouldn't be surprised if more counties eventually get included in this winter storm watch. Now, after that, we've got plenty of cold air in place. This high pressure sits here. We've got all this cold air sagging way southward, and it looks like, as I said before, we're not quite done, as we're kind of waiting for the last bit of energy to poke through. So there is a chance by Saturday morning for some of you areas across the far south to get some snowfall as well by the time it's all said and done. Now, just exactly where that line's going to be is still kind of up in the air. I think I think there's still some fine tuning that needs to be done, but nevertheless, for those of you across southern parts of South Dakota, southern Minnesota, especially as we get into Saturday morning and early Saturday afternoon, be on the lookout for snow across your region as well. Now, once we get beyond Saturday, we've got cold, high pressure basically in place. We're going to be dry for a number of days, perhaps a few flurries across northeastern parts of Minnesota. But yeah, we've got this large high pressure system over us that's going to be keeping it cold for quite a few days. Then maybe by the time we get into midweek to later part of next week, some of those temperatures will rebound just a little bit. So that's the latest forecast for this first winter storm of the season. We can do it, folks, because we're hardy and we live here and we can deal with it, right? But if you want more weather information, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also hit the bell button right beside it that pops up along with it, because that way you're notified when I upload a video just like this. Keep you informed all winter long with all the winter storms that are expected to come across our region, and you'll be notified when I have a live feed going. I'm hoping to have one going tomorrow, and we'll have cameras and latest radar and all that kind of fun stuff going, and I'll be making sure to monitor the chat. So if you have any questions, make sure you tune in tomorrow on the live feed and we'll answer any questions on the chat room. All right, everybody, for Region Weather Live, I'm meteorologist Brad Warner, and everybody have a good day.